Hey guys, Simon here. We're playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and the game is over. But we are going to look at architecture and history and all sorts of stuff. So, this game is based in Rome mostly, and the game hasn't really said that much about architecture or history yet. But we're gonna have a look, and we're gonna start with the city itself, the city of Rome. So let's go to the games database and see what the game says about it. If I can scroll over to where is it? There's a lot of stuff here for us to look at, as you can see. I'm wondering how to go about it. I guess I'll do some of the more famous places first, like the Colosseum, for example. But there's a lot of stuff to cover. Let's see, and like this, that's the Capitoline Hill. I think that's the Capitoline Hill. The Pantheon, and all sorts of stuff. The baths, the aqueducts. Okay, Roma. So Rome, the city itself, Roma in Italian and Latin. So the game says evidence suggests that a human presence in the area of Rome for at least 10,000 years. Yeah, that's about right. The mythology of early Rome tells us that the city was founded by Romulus, who was raised in a cave with his brother Remus by a she-wolf. Apparently, the two infant boys took their nourishment from her teat. A story like that must be true, right? So that's the myth of Rome. Archaeological evidence supports that Rome did in fact grow from pastoral settlements on Collo Palatino. So that's the Palatine Hill. Colle Palatino? The future site of the Roman Forum. Oh wait, Palatine Hill is the Forum. I must have remembered that wrong. Never mind. Upon which there's several caves. Eventually, the Republic of Rome was founded in 510 BCE. Circa, so C is circa, so approximately 510 before Christ. The successful and wealthy republic gave birth to the Imperial Roman Empires in 27 BCE, which were sprawling territories ruled by succeeding emperors. I don't know what they're called empires. Why is there multiple empires? It split eventually, but anyway. When the empire fell in 476 and the Roman Catholic Church took power in 756, Rome continued to be both an economic and cultural powerhouse in Europe. You notice that for about 300 years there's a gap there. So a lot can happen in 300 years. So after the empire fell, bad things happened until the Roman Catholic Church took back the city. Anyway, Rome continued to be both an economic and cultural powerhouse in Europe. In the mid-14th century, Florence surpassed Rome as the epicenter of the Italian Renaissance. This irked the papacy to no end, so they set about spending vast amounts of money and resources commissioning architects and artists to create masterworks in an effort to bring the focus back to Rome. The result of this vanity-driven ambition was an unmatched creative and scientific output that is still marveled over today. It's safe to say that Rome is historically one of the most important cities in Western history and arguably the world. It's not just about vanity. Along with culture and arts follows also science and money. And if the money is kind of leaking away from you to a neighboring city, you want to get it back, because that's power. It equates to power. And science too, because the Renaissance, with science comes military technology. So again, it comes back to money and power. So it's not just vanity. It's pretty serious business. So that's what the game has to say. It's pretty brief. Let us go to our good friend Google. Let's see, go Rome. We want maps. We probably want images. We want Wikipedia. We want everything. Alright, let's see what images. That's Baroque. That is also Baroque. So significantly later than the Renaissance, where we are now. So this is the view from St. Peter's, from the top of St. Peter's, looking out. So the St. Peter's Square is there. So that does not exist in the game. That's the Colosseum. It doesn't look that big, does it? Maybe I was wrong, or maybe this is like a wide angle shot. Never mind. So interestingly, there's a lot of photos of this thing, which is not actually in the game. That's St. Peter's, that's one of the bridges, that's the inside of the Colosseum. Yep, more Colosseum. More Colosseum. That's the Tiber River. Roads. So, not really recognizable, interestingly. I mean, there's a lot of Colosseum, but not really recognizable in the game, just because so many new things have been built since then. Like, since the time of the game. Actually, there you go. This is historic Rome. So there's the kind of aqueducts, there's a Colosseum. Can we see there's the Tiber. The Pantheon, there's the Pantheon there. And Circus Maximus. I believe this is a model of Roman Rome, as in like in Roman times. Anyway, let's not mess around with that too much. Let's Google Maps. Let's go to satellite image. So Rome is pretty big, but the historic Rome is here. Let's see. There's the Tiber River, the Tiber Island. That's where the Assassin's hideout is in the game. Let's see what that looks like. That looks like that. So it is kind of a fort. So you can see the walls there. It's a bit of a fortress. Not quite the same as in game. Let's zoom back out a bit. So the Vatican is over here. So there's Castel San Angelo, or Santo dell'Angelo? Statua dell'Angelo? Not quite sure. Alright, so those are the roads in Angelo. So you see like these roads. So at some point the Pope put in a bunch of these roads in Rome, and you can see like that road there and some of these kind of really big long straight roads there. They're not in the game because they don't exist in the game, because they were built afterwards. Anyway, that's St. Peter's Basilica there. That's the Sistine Chapel there. So you can recognize some of the places we've been to in the game, right? Piazza Navona is like that. There is a Piazza Navona in the game, but it's kind of really small. I mean, there's the statues and there's this tower. I mean, the fountains, but then it's much smaller in the game than it is in real life. The Tiber River, and then the Pantheon is right there. You can see it. There it is. Is it facing the other way? Hold on, it faces north in real life. Where are we? Oh, it does face north. Never mind.
God damn you!
So, wait, what? So that faces north as well. Alright, that's good. So it does face the right way. Well, not quite. Not quite. It's like a slightly diagonal for some reason. I don't know if it's slightly diagonal in real life as well. Alright, so there's the Pantheon, and that is the Capitoline Wolf? That's not actually in the game, is it? No, this is built after the Renaissance. But down here is the Colosseum. Look how big the people are. Like, I keep complaining about how the Colosseum is not the right size in the game. Pretty sure it isn't the right size in the game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is much bigger than it is in the game. Right? Anyway, I think it is. So there's the Colosseum. And then the old Roman ruins should be around here. This is the old Circus Maximus, right? So the horse races would go on here. Most of it has been demolished. There we go. There's the old ruins. Is that the Roman Forum? Maybe I should have paid more attention to... Oh, there it is. There's the Roman Forum there. Well, I mean, that's fairly close. It's almost there. There's the Roman Forum, so the old Roman government is located there. That's the Piazza di Campidoglio? I can't read that. Julius Caesar statue there. Alright, that's cool. There it is, the recognizable arches of that thing there. Next to the forums, and then alright, there's the Colosseum again. Where are the... There are more ruins around here, right? The problem with a city like Rome is that it's been continually habited for so long that new buildings get built on top of old buildings, and so, I mean, there's a lot of Roman and medieval and Renaissance kind of ruins underneath existing houses, which is kind of problematic for archaeology, you know? So that's pretty cool. So there's Rome there. What else should we look at? I guess we should find the old city walls, if I can. Not sure if I can. Like, you see these roads here. Are they on the city walls or what? No, that's just the train track. Or maybe it is? There's city walls in the game, but I don't know if those are accurate. Interesting. Actually, let's just zoom out. Okay, now let's zoom back in. I'm trying to see just where the like just where the game takes place. So the northernmost part of the game is like the Vatican, right? So we zoom out here. So it ends, you know, at the Vatican, and it goes around like this. Maybe I was looking too far out. So it ends about there. And it kind of curves around here. Is that it? Is that? I can't really figure out. Maybe it's just gone. I guess most of the city walls are just gone. I don't see the boundary. So let me just at here. So that's the Tiber River. I know, that's the island there, and there's that stuff there. Let me just... Maybe the walls are more to the south. So the Tiber Island is there, right? And according to the game... Oh wait, is that it? No, those are train tracks. So train tracks, and... I don't see... Oh, there they are. Oh, there they are. Found them. Found them. So there's the old city walls there. You can see them on the map. Let's see if we can just follow them around. Oh wait a minute, is that an aqueduct or walls? Pretty sure those are walls. Graveyard also. Yeah, I'm pretty sure those are walls, not an aqueduct. Yeah, those are walls, these are battlements and towers and whatnot. What's going on there? Alright, let's see if we can follow... Oh, there's the weird ass pyramid on the walls. So that thing, it's this thing here. Actually, it's much bigger in real life than it is in game too. It's just kind of this weird pyramid in the middle of the wall. Like it's actually in the wall. Like the wall goes through the pyramid. I don't understand why. We'll find out. We will look in Wikipedia and we'll find out what that thing is supposed to be. So the city walls go around here. I can just keep following it around. They managed to keep most of it intact too. That's amazing. Actually, this is newer stuff. You can tell because this is designed for cannons. I don't know if you know about your fortification technology. So you see like these square towers. This is before cannons. So the idea with this is you put cannons there, and you can shoot things that are right up against the wall. So if people are trying to climb the walls, or if they have like siege towers, then you can use your cannons to shoot down the siege towers. So these things are designed so that you can cover every part of the wall. So those can cover there, and then a cannon here can cover this wall, and then this thing, a cannon like here, can shoot across the face of it and cover this wall. And so the entire face of the wall is protected by cannon fire. and especially like stuff like this, so you can kind of cut, shoot across there, and these guys can shoot across there. So they're kind of covering different parts of the wall with the placement of the cannons, and this is only after the invention of the cannon, because cannons can shoot kind of straight and low, whereas a catapult would have to kind of throw the rocks above, and ballistas don't really shoot that far. So this sort of kind of shape only is invented after the invention of cannons. And also after the invention of cannons, you also notice that the walls become much thicker, because the cannon fire can punch through a thin wall fairly easily, whereas a thicker wall would stand up a lot better against cannon fire. Anyway, that's a bit of military history for you and technology. What happened to my map? Come on, come back. Alright, so the walls keep going around here, and I seem to be having trouble loading it. So it sticks out a little bit there. Can I identify that? Is that that? Oh, that's that. I see. I see. You can see the shape of it there. You can follow it around. Not that it's all that interesting. Maybe as we follow this around, we'll find an aqueduct. So the aqueducts would, bring in water from outside the city. So the aqueducts kind of have to cross the city walls at some point. I don't know if we'll see it in the map. I don't even know if I'm still following city walls. Like, they're there, right? That's the wall, and then it seems to just disappear. Is that the wall there? Am I still looking at it? Like, is that it? Or has it just... No, there's the wall there. Apparently this building managed to demolish some of the wall. Anyway, there it is there. So a bit of that is gone, and you have roads going underneath the walls. That's so inconvenient. Like, this massive road. Like, you imagine you're driving through Rome and you kind of have to weave your way through the city walls to get around. Slightly inconvenient for today's traffic, but suck it up. That's interesting. It's like a garden in the wall. Kind of weird, but okay. Wait, is that an aqueduct? Is that like an... It looks like an old aqueduct. It's not in use anymore. Clearly, I just don't know. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is an old aqueduct. So it's just this massive bridge for water that just spans across the landscape, bringing water into the city. So those are the walls, right? Yeah, these are the walls. I don't know what that is. Is that part of an aqueduct or what? And then train tracks. Oh no! The train tracks completely cut across the walls. Alright, well, there goes a bit of the wall there. And then the wall keeps going this way, I think. Yeah, there it is. There's the towers there. And then... Wait, does it seriously fold back and cross the tracks again? Wow, look at so many train tracks. And then we lost the wall. Oh, is that it? Or is that an aqueduct? I don't even know. Well, it's gone now. I can't really see where we are anymore. Train tracks killed everything. That was interesting. For me, I don't know how many of you guys thought that was interesting. Alright, well that's Rome. You can see a few of the landmarks, but a lot of stuff has been built over in the years following the Renaissance, and a lot of the old Roman stuff is just gone. It's just because, as I said, Rome has been continually inhabited for so long that they just kind of keep building and building and building. Old stuff gets demolished and new stuff gets built over it, and then you lose things. So there's the mausoleum of Augustus there. Actually, it seems to be... Oh no, it's about to say... It's much bigger than the thing in game. But not very well preserved either way. In fact, look at the size of that. And the size of the Pantheon. It's kind of bigger than the Pantheon, isn't it? Wow. I don't remember it being that big. Piazza del Popolo, that's also in the game. These days it's an oval thing surrounded by a road. That's like a big roundabout. Piazza del Popolo in game is there. That's a bit wimpy, isn't it? Yeah, everything's out of scale. Everything's out of scale. The stuff in game is much, much smaller than the stuff in real life. Alright, well there you go. I don't know if that helps. Maybe if you're interested you can look it up yourself and have a look around the map of the real Rome. And then maybe just buy the game and then run through it yourself. So that's helpful for me. Alright, let's go to Wikipedia and see what Wikipedia has to say about Rome. It has that to say. So Rome, Roma, in Italian. Can we listen?
Roma.
Oh, thanks for rolling your R's, bro. So Roma is a city and a special commune called Roma Capitale in Italy. Rome is the capital city the capital of Italy, and also the province of Rome and of the region of Lazio, with 2.7 million residents in 1,283.5 square kilometers. It is also the country's largest and most populated commune, and the fourth most populous city in the European Union by population within city limits. I guess the others would be London, Paris, and which other one would be big? Amsterdam? I'm kind of interested. Let's see. Yeah, so it's London. Oh, Berlin. Wait a minute, Madrid? Oh, Paris is 5th. Oh, wow. Okay, I see. Although this is like the city limits, so it's not like the metropolitan areas. This is the kind of the official city boundaries, which may or may not make sense because like cities are often much bigger than the so-called city limits. Like they're just gonna grow and grow beyond the boundaries, and so the metropolitan areas sometimes span multiple cities even. Anyway, so it's London, Berlin, Madrid, and then Rome, and then Paris, and then Bucharest, and Vienna, and so on and so forth. Alright, go back to this. The urban area of Rome extends beyond the administrative city limits with a population of around 3.8 million. See what I mean? Like, so 2.7 actually live in Rome, and then outside of that, the urban area extends to 3.8 million. Between 3.2 and 4.2 million people live in Rome, in Rome metropolitan area. Is there a map? Wow, it's huge. Huge! So there's Rome, but the population, look at that though. Rome is big. All the other places are kind of small. The province of Rome? Everywhere else is kind of tiny. That's interesting. So everyone's kind of concentrated in the city itself. The city is located in the central western portion of the Italian peninsula on the Tiber within Latium. So Latium is basically where Rome... Basically, it's the original territories of Rome. And Latin is the language of Latium. The Vatican City is an independent country within the city boundaries of Rome, the only example of a country within a city existing. Yeah, so the Vatican City is a sovereign state. Rome's history spans more than 2,500 years, since its legendary founding in 753 BC. Rome is one of the oldest continuously occupied cities in Europe. It is referred to as the Eternal City, a notion expressed by ancient Roman poets and writers. In the ancient world, it was successively the capital city of the Roman Kingdom, the Roman Republic, and the Roman Empire, and is regarded as one of the birthplaces of Western civilization. Since the 1st century AD, Rome has been considered the seat of the papacy, and in the 8th century it became the capital of the Papal States, which lasted until 1870. In 1871, Rome became the capital of the Kingdom of Italy, and in 1946 that of the Italian Republic. So it's a pretty serious business kind of city. One of the oldest continuously occupied city is in Europe. Yeah, it definitely is. After the Middle Ages, Rome was ruled by popes such as Alexander VI and Leo X, who transformed the city into one of the major centers of the Italian Renaissance along with Florence. The current version of St. Peter's Basilica was built and the Sistine Chapel was painted by Michelangelo. Famous artists and architects such as Bramante, Bernini, and Raphael resided for some time in Rome, contributing to its Renaissance and Baroque architecture. It kind of like the Renaissance started in Florence, but it got overtaken by Rome eventually. So, Rome, like the Baroque architecture in Rome, is definitely the center of Baroque architecture is definitely in Rome, and Baroque, art as well. Rome has the status of the global city. In 2007, Rome was the 11th most visited city in the world, third most visited city in the European Union, and the most popular tourist attraction in Italy. Its historic center is listed by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. Monuments and museums such as the Vatican Museums and the Colosseum are among the world's most visited tourist destinations, with both locations receiving millions of tourists a year. Millions of tourists a year. Rome hosted the 1960 Summer Olympics and is the seat of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. Alright. Yes. Etymology. About the origin of the name Roma, several hypotheses have been advanced. The most important are the following: from Rumon or Rumen, archaic name of the Tiber, which in turn has the same root as Greek verb rio and the Latin word ruo, which both mean flow. That's possible. From the Etruscan word ruma, whose root is rum, teat, with possible reference either to the totem wolf that adopted and suckled the connately named twins Romulus and Remus, or to the shape of the Palatine and Aventine Hills. Now, I don't know about that one. From the Greek word rome, which means strength. I don't know about that one. That seems more likely, like the archaic name for the Tiber. I mean, that's the river that Rome is on. Oh wait, history. There's a separate article for the history of Rome. Maybe we should read this one. Let me just see the earliest history. Yeah, we should read that one because this one's kind of short. We should read the longer one. Alright, let's read the longer one. Yeah, history of Rome. The history of Rome spans 2,766 years of the existence of a city that grew from a small Latin village in the 9th century BC into the center of a vast civilization that dominated the Mediterranean region for centuries. The population of the city fell drastically in the late Empire after Rome ceased to be the capital of the empire, and remained far lower than its ancient peak until Rome became the capital of a reunited Italy in the late 19th century. Wow. Alright, I didn't know it took that long for it to recover the population. This assured the survival of very significant ancient Roman material remains in the center of the city, some abandoned and others continuing in use. For most of the centuries in between, the papacy was the ruler of the city and Rome became the capital of the Papal States, which grew to include large parts of central Italy. Although economically weak, Rome remained a center of pilgrimage and also tourism. Rome is one of the oldest named cities in the world. Its political power was eventually replaced by that of peoples of mostly Germanic origin, marking the beginning of the Middle Ages. Rome became the seat of the Roman Catholic Church and the home of a sovereign state, the Vatican City, within its walls. Today it is the capital of Italy, an international, worldwide political and cultural center, a major global city, and is regarded as one of the most beautiful cities of the ancient world. Well, I mean, okay, but not that many ancient cities remain, to be honest. Or holy cow. Is that S 1.5? Yeah, so It reached 1.5 million, or over 1.5 million people during the Roman Empire. And then it remained quite low population until later. That's amazing. Wow. I didn't know it took that long for it to recover. The traditional date for the founding of Rome, based on a mythological account, is the 21st of April. That's very specific. The 21st of April, 753 BC. And the city and the surrounding region of Latium has continued to be inhabited with little interruption since around that time. Interesting. From the 15th century illuminated manuscript. That's French. I'm not gonna try and pronounce that. But there's a simplified plan of Rome. So there you go. So where's north? I can't recognize a single thing. Man, these guys are crap at drawing maps. Look at this. Is that the Pantheon? No, it's upside down, isn't it? That's the Tiber River there. That's the Tiber Island there. The north is like this way, isn't it? Is that the Sistine Chapel? And the St. Peter's Cathedral? Wait a minute. Or is that it? Or... Wow, this guy is crap at drawing maps. Which way is north? So there's the aqueducts. North must be this way. Come on. I can't know how to read that map. Okay, so ancient Rome. Alright, there's even more. Let's not go to more articles. This is pretty long already. So earliest history, there's archaeological evidence of human occupation of the Rome area from at least 5,000 years. But the dense layer of much younger debris obscures Paleolithic and Neolithic sites. Evidence of stone tools, pottery, and stone weapons attest to at least 6,000 years of human presence. The power of the well-known tale of Rome's legendary foundations tends also to deflect attention from its actual and much more ancient origins. So the Roman account of the founding of Rome is not really the accurate one. The origin of the city's name is thought to be that of the reputed founder and first ruler, the legendary Romulus. It is said that Romulus and his twin brother Remus, apparent sons of the god Mars, who was suckled by a she-wolf after being abandoned, decided to build a city. Alright, so two kids raised by a wolf built a city. Awesome. That makes all the sense in the world. After an argument, Romulus killed Remus and named the city Rome after himself. That explains a lot about Rome, doesn't it? After founding and naming, as the story goes, Rome, he permitted men of all classes to come to Rome as citizens, including slaves and freemen without distinction. To provide his citizens with wives, Romulus invited the neighboring tribes to a festival in Rome, where he abducted the young woman from amongst them, known as the Rape of the Sabine Woman. After the ensuing war with the Sabines, Romulus shared the kingship with the Sabine king Titus Tatius? Or something? Romulus selected 100 of the most noble men to form the Roman Senate as an advisory council to the king. These men he called patres, and their descendants became the patricians. He created 3 centuries of equitae named Ramnes, meaning Romans. Equites is his horse, like horseback soldiers. Titus after the Sabine king, and a third called Lucaris, the Etruscans. Lucaris, anyway. He also divided the general populace into 30 curae, named after 30 of the Sabine women who had intervened to end the war between Romulus and Titius. The curae formed the voting units in the Comita Curiata. I don't know how much of this is true. I mean, it's like a myth more than real history. More recently, attempts have been made to find a linguistic root for the name Rome. Possibilities include derivation from the Greek, I can't pronounce that, meaning bravery and courage. Possibly the connection is with the root rum, teat. So we read about this already. The Basque scholar Manuel de Larramendi thought that the origin could be related to the Basque language word orma, modern Basque curio for war. Doubtful. That is, I don't know, this is a speculation, man. Never mind. City's formation. Rome grew from pastoral settlements on the Palatine Hill and surrounding hills approximately 3 or 30 kilometers from the Tyrrhenian Sea. Is that how you pronounce that? On the south side of the Tiber. On the south? Oh yeah, that's right. And none of these hills, the Quirino Hill, was probably an outpost for another Italic-speaking people, the Sabines. At this location, the Tiber forms a Z-shaped curve that contains an island where the river can be forded. So that's Tiber River. Because of the river and the ford, Rome was at a crossroads of traffic following the river valley and of traders traveling north and south on the west side of the peninsula. Alright. Archaeological finds have confirmed that in the 8th century BC, in the area of the future Rome, there were 2 fortified settlements, Rumi on the Palatine Hill and Titiantes on the Quirino Hill, backed by the Lucarius living in the nearby woods. Okay, so there was basically Rome and the Sabines. These were simply 3 of the numerous Italic-speaking communities that existed in Latium, a plain on the Italian peninsula. By the 1st millennium BC, the origins... Oh, wait, no, that's the last sentence. Alright, so there's a bunch of Italic-speaking people living on the peninsula in the 1st millennium BC, or I see. The origins of the Italic peoples lie in prehistory and are therefore not precisely known, but their Indo-European languages migrated from the east in the second half of the 2nd millennium BC. According to Dionysius of Halicarnassus, many Roman historians, including Porcius Cato and Gaius Sempronius, regarded the origins of the Romans, descendants of the Aborigines, as Greek, despite the fact that the knowledge was derived from Greek legendary accounts. The Sabines, specifically, were first mentioned in Dionysius' account for having captured by surprise the city of Lister, which was regarded as the mother city of the Aborigines. Okay, this is all kind of confusing. The Etruscan Tomb of the Whipping. What are those guys doing to each other? Is it a dude or a woman? So there's 2 dudes spanking another dude, I think. Interesting. In the 8th century BC, these Italic speakers, Latins in the west, Sabines in the upper valley of the Tiber, Umbrians in the northeast, Samnites in the south, Oscans and others, shared the peninsula with 2 other major ethnic groups, the Etruscans in the north and the Greeks in the south. Alright, I see. The Etruscans were settled north of Rome in Etruria, modern northern Lazio, Tuscany, and part of Umbria. They founded cities like Tarquinia, Veii, how do you pronounce this? And Volterra, and deeply influenced Roman culture, as clearly shown by the Etruscan origin of some of the mythical Roman kings. The origins of the Etruscans are lost in prehistory. Historians have no literature, no texts of religion or philosophy. Therefore, much of what is known about this civilization is derived from grave goods and tomb findings. The behavior of the Etruscans has led to some confusion. Like Latin, Etruscan is inflected and Hellenized. Like that's Hellen. That's Greek. Hella is Greek, so it's influenced by Greek. Like the Indo-Europeans, the Etruscans were patrilineal and patriarchal. Like the Italics, they were warlike. The gladiatorial displays actually evolved out of Etruscan funerary customs. Future studies of Etruscan and more excavations in this region will no doubt shed more light. That's just okay. That's never mind. The Greeks had founded many colonies in southern Italy that Romans later called Magna Graecia, Greater Greece, such as Cumae, Naples, Reggio Calabria, Crotone, Sybaris, and Taranto, as well as the eastern two-thirds of Sicily between 750 and 550 BC. So there was Romans, or the Latins, and then there's the Etruscans to the north and the Greeks to the south. Etruscan dominance. After 650 BC, the Etruscans became dominant in Italy and expanded into north-central Italy. Roman tradition claimed that Rome has been under the control of 7 kings, from 753 to 509 BC, beginning with the mythic Romulus, who along with his brother Remus was said to have founded the city of Rome. 2 of the last 3 kings, namely Tarquinius Priscus and Tarquinius Superbus, were said to be at least partially Etruscan. Priscus is said by the ancient literary sources to be the son of a Greek refugee and a Etruscan mother. The names referring to the Etruscan town of Tarquinia. I don't know how much of this I should read. It doesn't really relate to Rome. So the Etruscans, although, there's a bunch of stuff here. Expand to the south. So Rome at the time was dominated by the Etruscans. The Etruscans left a lasting influence on Rome. The Romans learned to build temples from them, and the Etruscans may have introduced the worship of a triad of gods, Juno, Minerva, and Jupiter, from the Etruscan gods Uni, Minerva, and Tinia. However, the influence of Etruscan people in the evolution of Rome is often overstated. Rome was primarily a Latin city and never became fully Etruscan. Also, evidence shows that Romans were heavily influenced by the Greek cities in the south, mainly through trade. Alright. So, Roman Republic. Wow, that sounds complicated. So that's Roman politics. Let's leave that alone. So, after 500 BC, Rome joined with the Latin cities in defense against incursions by the Sabines, winning the Battle of Lake Regillus. In 433 BC, Rome established again the supremacy over the Latin countries it had lost after the fall of the monarchy. After a lengthy series of struggles, this supremacy became fixed in 393 BC, when the Romans finally subdued the Volsci and the Aequoi. In 394 BC, they also conquered the menacing Etruscan neighbor of Veii. I think it's Veii. The Etruscan power was now limited to Etruria itself, and Rome was the dominant city in Latium. Also, a formal treaty with the city of Carthage is reported to have been made in the end of the 6th century BC, which defined the spheres of influence of each city and regulated the trade between them. At the same time, Heraclides states that that 4th century Rome is a Greek city. 4th century Rome is a Greek city? Really? That might just be I mean, Greek was culturally more advanced at the time, and it might just be referring to the cultural advancement of Rome at that time. Anyway, Rome's early enemies were the neighboring hill tribes of the Volscians, the Aequoi, and of course the Etruscans. As years passed and the military successes increased Roman territory, new adversaries appeared. The fiercest were the Gauls, a loose collection of peoples who controlled much of northern Europe and including what is modern north and central east Italy. I think Gauls is not really the proper name. I mean, it was the name given to them by the Romans. Basically, there was just tribes of people living all over Europe, and the Romans just called all of them Gauls, basically. In 387 BC, Rome was sacked and burned by the Senones, coming from eastern Italy and led by Brennus, who had successfully defeated the Roman army at the Battle of the Allia in Etruria. Multiple contemporary records suggest that the Senones hoped to punish Rome for violating its diplomatic neutrality in Etruria. The Senones marched 130 kilometers to Rome without harming the surrounding countryside. Once sacked, the Senones withdrew from Rome. Brennus was defeated by the dictator Furius Camillus at Tusculum soon afterwards. Interesting. After that, Rome hastily rebuilt its buildings and went on the offensive, conquering the Etruscans and seizing territory from the Gauls in the north. Alright. After 345 BC, Rome pushed south against other Latins. Their main enemy in this quadrant were the fierce Samnites, who outsmarted and trapped the legions in 321 BC at the Battle of Caudine Forks. In spite of these and other temporary setbacks, the Romans advanced steadily. By 290 BC, Rome controlled over half of the Italian peninsula. In the 3rd century BC, Rome brought the Greeks Polonaise in the south under its control as well, so that's the Greek cities. That's a map. Amidst the never-ending wars, from the beginning of the Republic up to the Principate, the doors of the Temple of Janus were closed only twice. When they were opened, it meant that Rome was at war. Amazing. Rome had to face a severe major social crisis, the conflict of the orders, a political struggle between the plebeians, the commoners, and patricians, the aristocrats, of the ancient Roman Republic, in which the plebeians sought political equality with the patricians. It was the major issue during the history of the constitution of the Roman Republic, and played a major role in the development of the constitution of the Roman Republic. It began in 494 BC when, while Rome was at war with two neighboring tribes, the plebeians all left the city, the first plebeian secession. The result of this first secession was the creation of the office of plebeian tribune, and with it the first acquisition of real power by the plebeians. So at this point, I mean, it's not easy for this to happen. I mean, it's only when a society becomes sufficiently affluent that the common people can begin to gain power, like they're educated enough and wealthy enough to have some sort of influence on politics. It's not easy for that to happen anyway, so let's look at this map. So you can see the dates there, 500, this is BC. It's after the Latin War, and then start of the Third Samnite War. The Samnites are there, and by the end of the Samnite War they were beaten. And then Etruscans and the Greeks and whatnot. Amazing. So gradual expansion. According to tradition, Rome became a republic in 509 BC. However, it took a few centuries for Rome to become the great city of popular imagination. By the 3rd century BC, Rome had become the preeminent city of the Italian peninsula. During the Punic Wars between Rome and the great Mediterranean Empire of Carthage, 264 to 146 BC, Rome's stature increased further as it became the capital of an overseas empire for the first time. Beginning in the 2nd century BC, Rome went through a significant population expansion as Italian farmers, driven from their ancestral farmlands by the advent of a massive slave-operated farms called latifundia, flocked to the city in great numbers. Interesting. The victory over Carthage in the First Punic War brought the first two provinces outside the Italian peninsula, Sicily and Sardinia. That's like that. Parts of Spain, Hispania followed, and in the beginning of the 2nd century the Romans got involved in the affairs of the Greek world. By then, all Hellenistic kingdoms and the Greek city-states were in decline, exhausted from endless civil wars and relying on mercenary troops. The Romans looked upon the Greek civilization with great admiration. The Greeks saw Rome as a useful ally in their civil strifes, and it wasn't long before the Roman legions were invited to intervene in Greece. In less than 50 years, the whole of mainland Greece was subdued. The Roman legions crushed the Macedonian phalanx twice, in 197 and 168 BC. In 146 BC, the Roman consul Lucius Mummius razed Corinth, marking the end of free Greece. The same year, Cornelius Scipio Aemilianus, the son of Scipio Africanus, destroyed the city of Carthage, making it a Roman province. So the Greeks fought amongst each other, which made it extremely vulnerable to the Roman legions. In the following years, Rome continued its conquest in Spain with Tiberius Gracchus, and it set foot in Asia when the last king of Pergamum gave his kingdom to the Roman people. The end of the 2nd century brought once again threat when a great host of Germanic peoples named the Cimbri and Tetuans crossed the river Rhone and moved to Italy. Gaius Marius was consul 5 consecutive times, 7 in total, and won 2 decisive battles in 102 and 101 BC. He also reformed the Roman army, giving it such a good reorganization that it remained unchanged for centuries. So this is the Roman Republic, not the city of Rome itself. The Roman Empire. Oh, I see. So it talks about Rome, not really the city. Or does it? Social war between Romans and allies, slave uprising, were hard conflicts, all within Italy, and forced the Romans to change their policy with regards to their allies and subjects. By then, Rome had become an extensive power with great wealth which derived from the conquered peoples, as tribute, food, or manpower, i.e. slaves. Yeah, no, it doesn't really talk about the city. Here we go. By the end of the Republic, the city of Rome had achieved a grandeur befitting the capital of an empire dominating the whole of the Mediterranean. It was at the time the largest city in the world. Estimates of its peak population ranged from 450,000 people to over 3.5 million people, with estimates of 1 to 2 million being the most popular with historians. This grandeur increased under Augustus, who completed Caesar's projects and added many of his own, such as the Forum of Augustus and the Ara Pacius. He is said to have remarked that he found Rome a city of brick and left it a city of marble. Augustus' successors sought to emulate his success in part by adding their own contributions to the city. In AD 46, during the reign of Nero, the Great Fire of Rome left much of the city destroyed, but in many ways it was used as an excuse for new development. Nero was not a good emperor. He was slightly crazy and he burned Rome down. Rome was a subsidized city at the time, with roughly 15 to 25% of its grain supply being paid by the central government. That's kind of important, because otherwise it couldn't sustain that population. Commerce and industry played a smaller role compared to that of other cities like Alexandria. This meant that Rome had to depend upon goods and production from other parts of the empire to sustain such a large population. This was mostly paid by taxes that were levied by the Roman government. If it had not been subsidized, Rome would have been significantly smaller. And I mean, like, that's an important point, because obviously food is important. Like, you can't live without food, right? And Rome, like at that time, Rome, like it imported grain from other parts of the empire to feed the capital city. And I mean, 15 to 25% of its grain being supplied or being paid by the central government. I mean, that's like a quarter of its food supply. And it might not, well, I mean, you might think a quarter of its food, I guess that means then, well, maybe then if it didn't have the subsidy, maybe there'll be one quarter fewer people. It's not like that. It's actually like the subsidy, like it reduces the food price and it makes price remain like so. If you lower the price, then people can afford to buy the food. So supplying a bit of a food keeps the price low, and so the effect of supplying the food is much bigger than just having a quarter more people. It's actually a lot more people than just a quarter because people can afford to buy the food if the price is low enough. So it's not just a matter of giving away food for free, but more like making the food price slightly cheaper so that people can actually afford it.